Hi, my name's Taylor. I'm the lead intern out here at Safe Haven, and today is my keeper talk. Behind me, I have Ben. He's one of our 2 American black bears. The other one is Teddy. He's hiding at the moment. Our boys are getting ready to go into hibernation, so they're sleeping more. Hi. Now, both of these boys, they were pet owned out in Ohio by a man. Now, both of them, they did have very different backstories before they did end up at that man's. Ben here, unfortunately, was used for bear fighting. Because of that, he is completely declawed, but as you can see, he doesn't seem to hold any animosity towards people, which we are very happy about. He is a little bit more standoffish than Teddy is, but we definitely appreciate the fact that he is still really comfortable being here. Now, Teddy, he was originally a wild bear, and then ended up being at that man's house. That man would actually allow him to play with his 3-year-old son. Being a fully clawed bear, he could have easily swiped and killed that child, which fortunately never happened. Fish and Game did go in and seize these 2 bears, and we did end up with them, which we're very happy about. Now, we did have these boys for about 3 years, and only back in January could we officially call them our own, which we are so happy to have these 2 bears as our own. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing very much of them over the next few months because they will be going into hibernation. Now, with these boys, Ohio is one of the states that in past years has had laxer laws over owning exotic animals. Now, an event back in 2011 did change the laws a lot, and that is what is called the Zanesville Massacre. Now, what ended up happening was a man had over 50 animals in his ownership, and he ended up releasing all of them, and he did commit suicide. Now, all of those animals, about 50 of them did have to be put down. 6 of them were able to be rescued, but 50 animals, including 18 tigers, 17 lions, 6 black bears, 2 grizzlies, 3 cougars, 2 wolves, and 2 primates, all had to be put down by local law enforcement. Now, a lot of people ask, why can't they just be tranquilized? Well, the main thing that happened there was that obviously these are big predators, and this is local law enforcement. Now, local law enforcement, they don't really have tranquilizers just sitting in their cars, which would be necessary to take care of those animals. And in order to tranquilize these animals, you have to be able to guesstimate their weight, as well as get dependent on that weight, know how much tranquilizer that you would actually need. And on top of that, you would have to have an absolutely perfect hit in the right part of the body, and then even then it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for it actually to kick in. Now, this is a predator, and if you hit it, it's going to start running at you, or it's going to run into the nearby woods. And oftentimes, if they do that, you cannot find them, and they'll just wake back up, and then it was all for nothing. Now, on top of that, if a predator starts running at you, it's a shoot-to-kill situation. Now, that scenario, it also took place at night, and you have to imagine these animals and those sheriffs, adrenaline was pumping, and there really wasn't anything that they could do other than a shoot-to-kill situation, which is unfortunate for everyone involved. But it was definitely the catalyst that drove Ohio into putting stricter laws in place. Now, in the U.S., there is no federal law over owning exotic animals. It's different state by state. So there are some states that have a complete ban over owning exotic animals. You cannot own them. There are actually 20 states that do. So that's really good. However, there are states that require a license or a permit, which are much easier than you would think to get, and there are actually about 5 states that have no laws over owning or transporting exotic animals, which is extremely scary. Your neighbor down the street could have a tiger in their backyard and you would never know. Now, in the U.S., like I said, it's too easy to get a license or a permit. With the USDA, you can actually get an exhibitor's permit for about $40. And you pay about $10 for an application fee, and then depending on how many animals you have, you could pay $30 to $300. So if you have 1 animal, you could pay $30 to own a tiger and have them in your ownership. Now, this is something that people are trying to combat at the moment. Right now, there is legislation in the works. There It's called HR 1818. It was sent to the House of Representatives and currently is in a subcommittee. Unfortunately, it is something that is not very high up on a list of to-dos for politicians. The one way that you can help out is to check and see if your representative is a co-sponsor on that legislation. And if they aren't, then you can actually call them, you can email them, you can mail them if you actually want this to go through, because that is the only way that we'll actually get it passed, is for people to call and talk to their representatives and try to get this passed. It's only the House at the moment. It still has to go to the Senate and to the President, but it's something that we are definitely hoping does happen. Thank you guys so much for listening to this today. Hopefully you do talk to your representatives. If not, please still come out and visit us here at Safe Haven, or keep on checking in Facebook to hear more about our awesome animals, and keep tuned for our next Keeper Talk.